you get accused of your symptoms being all in your head. So my parents and I are about to go check out this new park a few minutes away from my house to see what it is, just for something to do. We were supposed to go to the beach today, but we canceled that. It's going to be too windy, and wind and sand with a central line is not a very good combination. I'm also very, very aggravated because the report from my genetics appointment came in showing that I have a PFO, which is a hole in my heart. Yet I've had 18 other echocardiograms, and that finding has not been there. The only findings that had previously been on my echocardiograms were mild regurgitation and then pulmonic, I don't know if I'm saying that or pronouncing that correctly, insufficiency. But all my reports from multiple institutions state that there is no PFO structural abnormality. Yet, this last echo does show one. And PFOs are supposed to be from birth, so it makes no sense as to why they would just now be seeing that now that I'm 21 years old, when I've been having cardiac workup since I was 12. So I emailed the cardiologist about that, because either A, it was a mistake and there really is no PFO and it was just an artifact, or B, it's not a PFO but there really is something and it's just something else. So in the process of going through old echo reports to see the findings, my last echo was performed due to chest pain. We did that in an x-ray to see if my central line right here in my chest is in the correct place. Well, the doctor said that my line was in the right place and that that was not the cause of my sudden symptoms. So, okay, great. My line's cool. Yet now that I'm going back into the report, the echo from September says that my line is too far into my atrium and needs to be pulled back. Yes. And that honestly baffles me. And no one even called to tell me about the PFO either to begin with, even though they're mostly benign. But why would you have a hole in your heart that suddenly appears? That's supposed to have been there since birth. The echo report, I thought maybe, okay, they looked at the wrong patient, but no, that's not it either, because the two other findings that have consistently been on every other echo report are still there. It's just the new one shows the PFO in addition to my regurgitation and insufficiency.
It doesn't surprise me.
Why?
And I don't know why I never saw it. That's another thing. Alright, let's get some air on for this chickadee.
Mama's got dog poo on her shoe. That's how our day's going.
That'd be mine.
So we're meeting some friends at the lake. Definitely more of a park than that park yesterday.
It's pitiful.
The park, literally, everyone's been raving about it, but the park only had maybe a couple swings. Did it even have swings? It was just like a slide and that's it.
I mean, an elementary school playground is more of a park than this park was a park.
They had a bathroom, a little shaded cover, and then a picnic table. I'm pooped. And she's sunburned. And we're stuck in bumper to bumper traffic. It's crazy how like something so little just sitting at the lake and drawing a
make room.
Weasley's contributing.
You making Auntie Danae something? Is that a pretty E?
My mom and I just left Danae's house. Danae got admitted to the hospital a couple days ago, and so we hung up a welcome home sign in her bedroom to kind of cheer her up a little bit. On the sign, there's different poems. There's like 4 different poems. Ellie helped me yesterday when we were at the lake, and so I wrote her a poem. Ellie wrote a poem. My mom and Ellie's mom wrote just a get well soon type of statement. And then I wrote a poem from Weasley. So Weasley's poem said, "Sweet Auntie Danae, my ears went back upon hearing of your recent pain. Oh, but it's a happy day, because your clot is disappearing as you dream of my handsome red mane." She was admitted for a blood clot, just FYI. "Now I poop and eat, sleep and play, meowing and cheering that you're home safely and sane." I thought that was kind of cute. It might make her laugh. What I've been struggling with this week is my weight. A little over a week ago, my dad caught a cold. I ended up getting it too. I fared the best out of actual viral symptoms. I only had mild stuffiness and like I could feel it in my chest a little bit. It made my mast cells just, so they're angry, and it set off my pancreas again and my GI problems that I had just started like coming out of. And now I'm going to put a little bit of a trigger warning because I'm going to talk about weight here. I was down to 87 pounds even, and I'd worked so hard to gain it. I've also been so busy with school. The semester just ended finally, and as part of my final assignment, I had to attend a group therapy. What the professor said was to attend one of those AA meetings or something that allows the general public. But with it being flu season and the mast cell portion of all of this being so bad right now, I could not physically attend a group therapy session for my final paper. And I emailed the professor and I asked if I could attend one online, because I was hoping maybe I could find some kind of group therapy where they do it via Skype. And he agreed. He thought that would be very interesting. So that's what I did. But the thing is, my options were already so limited that I couldn't necessarily come out and say, oh, I'm only here to observe, because they might not let me in and I really needed this information for my final paper. So I found a group therapy session, and if y'all hear that, that's my pump that's being really annoying and loud. But I attended the group therapy session, and it was for young adults, like age 17 and up, that have an eating disorder. Now, I do not have an eating disorder. That whole subject it's kind of a touchy subject, because when you have a chronic illness, especially one that is invisible, and you're during the initial diagnostic process, you get accused of your symptoms being all in your head. I know I did on multiple occasions when I was younger, when I was 15, 16, trying to get diagnosed, and that no one could figure out what was wrong with me. I did come across these doctors who accused me of having an eating disorder when that wasn't the case. I have my tests that confirm exactly my conditions, what is wrong with me, yada yada yada, but that's not always the case at first. While I couldn't come out completely and say that I was only there for observation, I did say that I was a psychology student and that I was really interested in the group process. But I attended this group therapy online. There were about 5 members. It was like the first ever meeting, so I happened to come like when the group was just being established. I had to try to think of what to talk about because I don't necessarily have an eating disorder. When you have a chronic illness and one that affects your GI tract, so pardon me, you do develop a weird relationship with food. Although I've never engaged in restrictive behaviors ever, you kind of do develop a body dysmorphia when your weight is so inconsistent and you're losing weight or gaining it and it's completely out of your control. It is kind of strange, and I did get to discuss a little bit of that while I was attending this group meeting for my paper. So I did have a little bit of something to try to contribute to this group that I didn't necessarily belong in. But you know, you really do when you eat and you know you're gonna either go into anaphylaxis and it's gonna try to send you in a heart attack, or you're just gonna profusely vomit after you're eating, then you don't always want to eat when it, like for example, when I've been on TPN before, and although normally I do lose weight on TPN still, there has been one time where my body actually got itself into gear and it started gaining a lot of weight while I was on TPN, and the pharmacist kept upping my calories. And although the weight gain was a good thing, while you're adjusting to that, I mean, you kind of feel as big as a house sometimes. And when you're constantly losing weight out of your control and just dropping it like that, and you don't want to, and you're not purposely trying to do it, it just, even though you're trying to get as many calories in as you can, your body just doesn't want to accept that. I mean, it does take a toll on your body image. And I think sometimes even you get so used to being a certain weight that it isn't even necessarily healthy, but you kind of perceive yourself as being bigger than you truly are. I guess it's kind of a coping mechanism, because although others may see that you're skin and bones, you know, you don't want to perceive yourself in such a way. So that was an interesting experience to attend that group therapy, and luckily I did get enough for my paper. The only thing I had to discuss in my paper, I didn't necessarily have to go into any details about any conversation of any of the group members, because that would be wrong. But I just had to discuss the group dynamics, how the group therapist, what techniques they used to get you to open up and that type of thing. And I really did see how therapy could be very helpful, not necessarily one for eating disorders, but if you could find something that applies to your situation. But because chronic illness is really hard, and especially one that's as isolating as mast cell disease, when you can't get out and you're allergic to everybody, that it's hard to be around people even. And you know, sometimes you just need to talk about that. But also with a chronic illness, it's like you're almost fearful of attending to those mental components that are inevitably a consequence of your chronic illness, and fear that doctors will stigmatize you or not believe you. And it's a shame that is the way it is. It's like once you have once some doctors know about that, or even if there's not even a mental issue and you're just going to therapy to talk, it's like once they hear about that, it's like they can't see anything out of that realm. And it was also very frustrating during that group therapy experience, because I know that like these people, they have healthy bodies that will accept food, but then they're not eating. But then at the same time, I'm trying to be empathetic and understand that, I mean, they're sick too, just in a different way than I am. So it was interesting to get to share my experiences and to hear about other people's experiences. But thanks for watching. I gotta go attend to this pump because my battery died, so bye.